breathing better, trauma-informed mindfulness, and movement. There's some good news about this broadcast. I had a great one yesterday. The bad news is apparently I did not press the button on start. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case now. And so I'm still trying to work out chat, some other technical issues. But as a baby boomer who's now eligible for Social Security, I hope you'll bear with me and we'll find some of the things that I'm going to talk about interesting. So we're going to talk about the heart coherence technique. I'm going to talk about some breathing techniques, and I'm also going to talk about something called the release technique. I'm also going to, because that's how my brain works, move off into other different areas, such as exercise and movement. And because I'm doing broadcasts that sometimes I'm pressing the start button on and others not, forgive me if I repeat myself. But in terms of exercise, one of the things that I want to stress to you is that you take it easy, particularly if you are not used to a rigorous exercise routine. Part of the challenge is not to overload your immune system and your ability to recover. So there are things that you can do. What is it? The 5 Tibetans, look that up. Exercise. Original Strength, look that up, by my friend Tim Anderson. Do 10 minutes of sun salutations. There's an indoor running exercise called 100 Up that I think was developed in the 1890s or something. Do that. And even if you're used to going at it hard, this is a time to maybe learn more about your body. That's why we're doing the breathing. Learn more about mobility, which is different from flexibility. Flexibility means if I take your arm and I see how far I can extend it, that's going to indicate how flexible you are. But you taking your arm and under your own muscular control, moving it out to its furthest end range, that's closer to what I'm talking about when I say mobility. So, do that. There's no need to get crazy, because one of the interesting things is, and one of the things that's really annoying to me, and again, I can't remember if I mentioned it on the last livecast or not, is I was a personal trainer for many years. I put myself through law school doing personal training. So we're talking, I was a personal trainer before it was a thing, right? So like 1982, do the math. And now everybody who's an Instagram influencer is coming on board with their latest body weight challenge. A lot of those are not made for people who haven't worked out before. So go slowly. This is not the time to try a novel exercise and challenge yourself, right? We're all challenged physically, we're challenged mentally, we're challenged emotionally. And so, you don't need to do the crazy exercise stuff. Hit me up if you want an exercise plan. I even have, I think I mentioned, some exercise videos. At this point, they're like vintage because they're a few years old, but that I'd be willing to send to you for free if you want a reasonable body weight exercise routine. Okay, none of the crazy stuff. Now, where else was I going to go? I want to start with the heart coherence technique, right? So if you were here last time, you recall I talked about heart coherence, and it's imagining that you're breathing through the area of your heart, right? Just in breath in general, we don't want to breathe from our accessory muscles, the muscles from our neck, upper chest, that kind of thing. There are times when we want to include those accessory muscles for a full breath. But in fact, underbreathing, in many respects, makes more sense. Taking a deep breath doesn't mean taking a breath that comes all the way up here. We need to train our diaphragm for that. And I'm going to get back to the heart coherence technique, so bear with me. But we need to train our diaphragm for that. And the breathing with the heart coherence technique connects the heart with the brain. There's a whole polyvagal theory around that, but you want to develop coherence between your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, all right? And heart coherence technique does that. So yeah, this is also a good time in terms of movement and somatic awareness, just to be in touch with your body. And that's the thing that breathing does. And to further that along, as part of the heart coherence technique, take one or both hands, place them over your heart to help you imagine the breath coming in. So take 3, 4, 5 seconds to take the breath in, breathing from the diaphragm, and slowly release, taking 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds to release the breath. And imagine it coming in through the heart and then going out through the heart. Let's do that a couple more times. And this time, as you're breathing in through the heart, think about something or someone that brings you joy, that is a source of appreciation for you, a source of kindness, a source of love. And as you breathe in, bring those thoughts, bring those feelings, bring that awareness to the breath and into your heart. And breathe any tension, negativity out on the exhale. And one more time, in through the heart, awareness, appreciation, gratitude, kindness. Could be for something you ate, could be for a particular book you read, a podcast, a Facebook Live video, a person in your life, a note that you read, some small kindness. Doesn't matter how big, how small. And then breathe out. And then come back here. And you could do worse than doing that heart coherence technique a few times a day. Okay, so that's something I want you to do. I want to talk to you now about your diaphragm. As part of the whole breath thing, the diaphragm is crucial. It's in addition to helping you breathe and there being a whole muscular action to it, along with the intercostal muscles and the other main breath muscles. Moving the diaphragm properly gets lymph fluid moving throughout your body. It's important to have lymph fluid move through your body. And it's also very difficult to get that happening. One of the best ways of doing it is if you can afford a vibration platform or a mini trampoline. But if you don't have those and don't want to invest in that, the breath can also do that same thing. And our diaphragms get locked up. So the diaphragm, I guess some people compare it to a parachute. And when we're inhaling, it comes up and then exhaling down. And so one of the ways we can strengthen our diaphragm is this counting exercise that I'm going to show you. I'm going to count out to 10 as many times as I can. And I'd love it if you wanted to join me in that. So here we go. Inhale. Again, keep the shoulders down and through the diaphragm to the best of your ability for now. Inhale. Exhale, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I don't know how many rounds you got. You may still be going. But as we're counting, we are also exhaling. And in order to support that exhalation, we're using the diaphragm. So if you don't feel that your diaphragm is working, that counting exercise is one way to strengthen it. Another way to strengthen it is crocodile breath. That's where you place your forehead on your hands as you lay on your stomach. And there should be a muscular action on the breath where on an inhale, your stomach is pushing the floor away and you're expanding through the sides and the back. So it's that 360-degree container we talked about last time for the breath. And the more you do crocodile breathing, the more you'll strengthen it. You can also lay on your back, bend your knees so your feet are flat on the floor, and you can place a book or some other similarly weighted object onto your stomach and see if the book is moving. You need to direct your breath so that the book, in fact, does move. You can also do that kind of breathing with something called a 90-90 position, which is also good for relaxing and releasing your lower back. So you're laying on your back near a wall, your feet are up, your legs are and hips are at 90 degrees. So you're bending your knees, your hips are bent, feet flat against the floor, and then focus on that 90-90 breathing from that position. 5 or 10 minutes of that, your lower back will thank you, your diaphragm will thank you, and your whole body will thank you. There's something I talked about in my, I got to figure out a name for that broadcast that never happened, something clever. If you have a suggestion, let me know. But have you seen something that's, I guess, trending or a bit viral or so forth in England, where an emergency room doctor talked about a technique he learned from an emergency room nurse who I guess worked with patients who had some type of, as they say in England, respiratory troubles. And I'm going to show you that breathing technique. One of the things, I have this ring on, and it's among other things, it's a sleep tracker. It also tracks my HRV, heart rate variability. It tracks my body temperature. And so me, that's kind of a call to awareness. In the mornings, I check it to see where is my HRV. You want a high HRV number. I also want my my body temperature to be 98.6 or even a little below. And those two things alone, in addition to how much sleep I'm getting, will indicate to me whether I am at risk of some kind of immune compromise, and will allow me to, do what I need to do. Worst case, obviously, for me, it's kind of a last resort, go to the hospital, but take more vitamin D, increase my liposomal vitamin C. If I'm not feeling any ill effects, and let me repeat, I'm not a mental health or a medical expert. This is just what I do. Elderberry, right? Elderberry is a big one for the immune system, but the research I've read said there may be some issues if you take elderberry when you're not feeling well, right? So you're getting symptoms, God forbid, but before that, elderberry is great. But I stay on top of my signs to know what kind of regimen I'm supposed to do. And that also would include, if for whatever reason my HRV is particularly low, not exercising extensively, perhaps doing some yoga, that kind of thing. I do it to take care of myself. Obviously, I don't want to get anybody in my house sick. But for me, I want to stay in the game. So for all of you here, right, don't worry about making this time perfect. There are certain things that are out of our control. That's a whole nother topic that I'm not going to get into right now or today. But there's certain things that are out of our control, and recognizing which things are within our control: our breath, our ability to move, the foods that we take in. I've stopped alcohol for now because that's a toxin to the system at times like this. And trust me, I love to have my glass of wine every night. But those are the kinds of things we need to do. And I want to stay in the game. For instance, I picked up food from a food pantry and made that delivery from a farm. I was out doing some deliveries for the Department of the Aging to older people. And, it's 62, eligible for Social Security. I thank God I don't have to be on that list. But there are people who are not able to feed themselves or go outside. And I need to be strong. That's why I train. That's why I stay in the game. Those are the things that I can control. And while you can't make things perfect, if you're here, if you begin to work on your breath, if you begin to work on understanding and being aware of thoughts that are helpful to you and thoughts that aren't, and putting them in their proper place, acknowledging them, and then letting them go, which we'll work on. If you're doing that, you're in the game. You're staying in the game. And that will be the source of your power. All right. So we're all here to stay in the game. And as I said before, email me at hans@hanshageman.com if you need specifics about how to stay in the game even better. So now let's talk about this kind of a rescue breath technique. If you're having distress, if unfortunately you or someone ends up in the hospital, There's new research showing that the ventilators that they're using, one, they're kind of a last resort. Two, they may not be using them the way they should be. They're forcing air into our lungs. They're taking away our respiratory agency, essentially, when we could use a different kind of a mask and that kind of thing for oxygen, and continuing to use our breath muscles to do the work. These ventilators force oxygen in at a very high rate, causing what some are saying some damage to the lungs. So I'm trying to give you any kind of technique, again, not being a medical professional, to help you move through that so that you don't need the ventilator, so that you don't need supplemental oxygen. So check it out for yourself. But as I said, this is going viral in the UK at least. So the pattern is, you take a breath in, hold it for 5 seconds, and then release it. I'm going to suggest you release it at, take 5 seconds to release it, because in general, we're getting the added benefit of a longer exhalation, helping our parasympathetic nervous system. That's the system that allows us to, rest and digest, okay, versus fight, flight, and freeze. So you're doing that 5 times. Then the 6th time, you're taking the breath in, and instead of doing a slow exhalation, you're going to cough into your elbow. All right. So let's run through that cycle together. Okay. Inhale. Exhale. I'm sorry. Exhale. All right. Let me take a step back. Inhale, hold for 5, then exhale with a longer exhalation. I messed that up. Gonna do that. Wait till we get to the yoga breathing. I'll probably mess some of that up too, but I will correct it. So inhale, hold for 5, and exhale. Inhale, hold for 5, inhale, hold for 5, and exhale. Inhale, hold, and exhale. And 5, inhale, 1, 2, 3, and hold, and exhale. And we're coming up on the cough on this one. Inhale, and okay. Now, don't be surprised if some, I have to say it, phlegm came up from that piece. It's just a tool in your back pocket. And my goal is to give you agency, to give you as much control over what's going on in your life with regard to the mental and emotional pieces as possible. One more thing about the diaphragm. You can test what's called the excursion rate of the diaphragm by getting a tape measure, putting it around your waist. And remember, we talked about society in Western culture, we have an issue about having our stomach go out. So we need to get over that, because that stomach is the thing that should be visible and moving if we're breathing properly. And I have a whole lot of breath techniques around circular breathing. Yawning is really cool, but we'll talk about those on the next one. Take the tape measure and mark it where it is naturally, and then inhale and then exhale. And so mark on the full inhale, note where it is, the tape measure, and on the exhale, note where the tape measure goes. If it's not moving, we got some work to do. Whatever it is, mark it down. Ideally, there needs to be, the bigger the number between a tape measure between the inhalation and exhalation, that's your diaphragm excursion rate. You want that diaphragm to be coming out. So, okay, I showed you mine. Now you show me yours. All right. And again, if you want, send me a video. We can talk about that. So now the final thing, because as I mentioned, Facebook Live says you're losing your audience's attention after 20 minutes or so. We're coming up on that number. I want to briefly go into the release technique. And yeah, I have quotes and all that other stuff, but whatever. I want you to, we talked about the SUD scale last time, subjective units of distress, where one is, I'm not bothered at all, to 10 being, I can't even function, I'm so upset. I want you to pick something that's around a 5 or a 6. I want you to think about it. I want you to think of a phrase that kind of sums that feeling up, that thought, that experience. And this is called the release technique. It was modified with the Sedona method. And the goal of these live streams will be to take the Sedona method or release technique, combine them with the heart coherence technique, and we can talk, we'll do more around heart coherence, and then different breathing techniques. I want you to have a toolbox, okay? So if you don't use any of the tools, that's on you. That means you're not in the game. If you're using one tool, you are in the game. So even if it's the heart coherence technique, hand over heart, breathing through your heart, thinking in and out through your heart, thinking about feelings of gratitude, appreciation, people that represent those for you. If you're working on your diaphragmatic breathing, if you're doing that kind of emergency breath, I mean, you're in the game. This is another tool for keeping you in the game. There's a lot, I've taken certifications in a bunch of this stuff. So I don't want to overwhelm you, and take what you need and leave the rest. Okay. So level of 5 or 6, something that disturbs you, upsets you, concerns you either now or in the past. And they're going to be a series of questions, very simple questions, and there's no right or wrong. And the answer can be yes, no, maybe, I don't know. And none of those are wrong. But the more you run through this process, the more you're going to hold space for the things that you need to hold space for. Okay. So think of that thing that's upsetting on a scale of 5 to 6. And could you allow and welcome that feeling to be not just in your mind, but present throughout your body? And if you're able to do that, could you let it go? Would you let it go? And if you would let it go, and if you could let it go, when? And could you let go of needing to understand the feeling, the incident, the person, the series of events involved? Could you let go of the need to explain it? All right, so let me take you through that again. And if you did that with me just now, where are you on that SUD scale? Okay, make a note of that. You can do this on the same issue, or you can pick a different issue each day. All of this stuff is not gonna, none of this stuff is going to work if you don't do it. Okay. So again, think of the issue. Could you allow it to be present? Is the first question. Do you have the ability to let it go? Second question. Would you be willing to let it go? Third question. And the fourth question is, if so, when? And you do all that without the need to explain or understand any of it. Okay, so love any feedback that you have. Get back to me. We're at 25 minutes. Let me know if this is the right time. I got, what is it? I got a bunch of notes, different stuff that I want to go through. And it usually goes on longer than I thought. But until next time, um, I want you to be a warrior in a garden. And as we move through all of this stuff,